I'm going to post this as a response to the professor's response to Andrew's narrative ego limitation video. I have no understanding of what ego is currently. Well, personality, accepted the word personality from a point of glamour, in that glamour, the word glamour, I once gave the word glamour to my half sister for Christmas with the words, understand this word and you will find it worth more than gold to you. When we're glamoured by something, it's almost like the mind takes a photograph of something that appeals, that we see as glamorous, and then we adopt it personality as a personality, and there must be some interpretation in there as well if it's a photograph of, because it is my experience of it, it is like an instant, you see something, the photograph, the glamour photograph's taken, and then from that the personality develops perhaps, so there is some interpretation in it. And that's the closest thing I can get to an understanding of ego. You see, desires are part of ego as well, aren't they? Well, I don't actually have any desires as such. It's difficult actually making that statement because I can't ultimately, honestly state it actually, although I am doing, obviously. I actually have found that in the last 2 days that the word pleasure is a thing I need to look into, and then when I looked the word up, I glanced at it in my definition manual, the word will was in there. I'll just go and get it. I just wanted to speak on this cognitive dissonance thing as well. Two words joined together to make a concept, because the two words together defined are not exactly the same as the concept. Pleasure, not beautiful. Words are beautiful. They change nothing. They can be beautiful and they change nothing. The dimensional being that was known as Rajneesh, he has another name as well, said it. He didn't say it when he was alive though, or in bodily, in his physical body, as Rajneesh Osho. Pleasure, one's will, and then it says desire, wish, preference or inclination, and I understand that the ego might possibly have something to do with desire, though like I said, I have no desires, and having no desires in Eastern philosophy is generally an aim, though I have no desires as such, and it limits in many ways. It limits I have no goal, I have no desire to achieve anything. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, as when you look at what we are doing to ourselves, well, it brings back that statement I've already made to Andrew, at least, if not here at the university. I don't know what we call this, Professor Anton's channel, his lectures, his videos, his communications. That is there any other animal in nature that destroys its environment without renewal? And nature itself is not into life or death. It is into existing. It exists cyclical, holistically cyclical. So cognitive dissonance, when I looked the words up, cognition and dissonance, I came away with disagreeing with what the mind sees. Then when I wikid cognitive dissonance, it said cognitive dissonance is an uncomfortable feeling caused by holding conflicting ideas simultaneously, which I immediately jumped to polarity. Polarity is inherent in our application and our words. In my investigation of myself, my accepting of polarity at a very early age is, I found it there in my investigation. And what occurs with polarity is you've got a position and the polarity, say you've got love and the polarity is hate, because they're just beliefs, love and hate. They're not actual things, they're words, they're just words to cause polarity. You've got hate, you've got love, and then they'll play out with each other, and then within the play out you'll get, what would you get perhaps? I'm not a very good example, this answer. It's not a very good example. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. It's not something, I don't walk around with. I mean, I'm a bit taken aback with the knowledge the professor can expound off the top of his head, like I can expound my own philosophy. This is not written down. No one else has it, yet it is gleaned from the merging of my occult philosophical studies. And the difference here with philosophy appears to be there is no merging, you just sort of keeping them separate. Well, he said this and he said this and he said this and he said this and he said this. Whereas what I did, not necessarily consciously either, was well, I'll have a bit of that, and 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 then, yeah, right, well, there was no yeah right, I'm doing it, I'm living it, and then my friends, the Destonians, come along. See, I've got the Destonians are my best friends. I'm almost a Destonian myself. The only reason I'm not a Destonian is because my application, I feel at times, would undermine the work, let's say. I need to check the video all the time. 8 minutes. I'm concerned that my application would undermine the work. You see, I have been realising myself with the tools destiny I've provided, though the realisations that they're first brought to mankind, because what they are presenting, and I don't want to sound marketing here, but what they are presenting to mankind has not been presented before in the format, in the way they are presenting it. And in many ways, see, they've looked into existence, all of existence, everything that ever was, that is, that was, that could be. And they've done a similar thing. They've taken what's usable and discarded what's irrelevant. And they very much refined my own adopted philosophy, because can it be called a philosophy? I didn't adopt it as such. I created it. I created myself. Though I might be having to exist in this world that, well, it didn't. And I'm stopping what I'm saying there, because you have to understand the nature of the program. Quantum time reality, I call it. It might not be specifically correct use of the three words, though if you can put cognitive dissonance together and create a concept out of it that's not actually what the words mean, then I can take quantum time reality and create a concept that doesn't necessarily be defined by the three words joined together, three definitions. Was there any other point? I have no answers for anyone other than myself. Know that. I'm not here selling you anything. Okay, I'm sharing my sources like you share yours. I'm selling nothing. I've got nothing to sell. Well, I've got things to sell. I burn the things I could sell. Until I'm to trace the history of philosophy, I need to look into pre-Socratean thought, because the Stoics came after 350 years after, is it 450 years after Socrates. Who was I watching this morning that said that? It was Aristotelian, what we're talking about here. Thank you, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Professor. I apologise for any, well, you know, I could explain to you why I am like I am and why I have adopted the tactics, in inverted commas, that I unfortunately am still utilising, as I am supposed to have dropped them as weapons, though I still appear to be wielding such. It is for me to concern myself with, which brings me to one other thing that's not relevant to this video but relevant to me. Anybody that has a problem with me, it is their problem. That's not to say that I don't mind discussing that problem they have with me, with them. Though anyone that has a problem with me, like any problem I have with anybody else, is my problem. Anybody has a problem with me, it's their problem. Deal with it. Thank you.